Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Scott Stringer. I'm the New York City Comptroller, and I want to welcome everybody from Red Hook and the surrounding area to our Sandy public hearing. This is a hearing that we're holding throughout the impacted areas of the Sandy hurricane, and tonight is about us listening to you so that we can make the Sandy process better. It's no secret to all of you who are here tonight that so many communities have been impacted twice. First, the storm hit, and then the bureaucracy hit. And in Red Hook, there was devastation that was very real. Red Hook Houses, largest NYC complex in Brooklyn, was without power and heat for 3 weeks. Almost 9,000 residents were plunged into darkness without the basic services you would expect. Businesses were battered by the flooding and wind, and in one example, the Fairway Market on the waterfront was forced to close for 4 months. Now, water flooded Red Hook from all 3 of its coasts, from the Upper Bay, Buttermilk Channel, and the Gowanus Bay. The damage to homes here was severe. Red Hook volunteers removed mold from 400 houses and cleared debris from over 1,000 local homes. The mold has spawned other problems like respiratory complaints and asthma diagnosis from NYCHA residents. The library was heavily damaged by the storm and shut down for 6 months. Now, meanwhile, efforts to recover and build across Brooklyn have stalled. Across Brooklyn, 6,200 single-family homes have applied for aid from the Build It Back program. 450 awards have been selected, 10 constructions are in progress, and zero constructions have been completed. Many of you in Red Hook have stayed and fought, but now 20 months later, you're taking a second hit. Tonight, we've come to listen to your stories. This is not a traditional town hall meeting where we ask a question, we tell you how good we're doing, and we move on. Tonight is about listening to your stories so that we can better inform the audit we're conducting of the Build It Back program and other audits that we have in the works. We need to know your experiences. We need to know what happened, because this cannot be allowed to continue. Now, I've held these hearings throughout the impacted areas, as I mentioned, from Breezy Point, Staten Island, Coney Island, to now, tonight we're in Red Hook. We'll be in Lower Manhattan at NYCHA later in the week. But I will tell you this tonight. The stories you tell are informing our audits, and part of my job as controller is to monitor city agencies, root out waste and fraud, work with the mayor to make things better, but also have your back when the bureaucracy is not working with you. This hearing is not a joke. It's not something I'm doing to check off the box. Everybody who has a personal story tonight and who has not received assistance, I'm going to ask you to step off the line after you speak, and one of our staff will take your information so that we can follow up to get you the service and the help you need. I may not be able to solve the problem tonight, but I will tell you this. Tomorrow you will get a call from the Comptroller's office. Everyone who signs up tonight will get a personal call. If you don't get a personal call, someone's not going to be working in the Comptroller's office the next day. That I will tell you. I've said this at many hearings, and so far, we've made the call so everyone has a job. Okay? We're here to get something done. And part of what I want to do tonight is better inform how we do our audits, which you know we are conducting. So let me get right to the point. I want to introduce the staff that's here tonight, the deputy controllers who are working on this issue. I'm going to start with our deputy controller for accountancy. They're going to tell you briefly what they do, why they're here, and what they're looking for tonight. This is the deputy controller for accountancy, Michelle Mark Levine.
Hi, is this working? Oh, good. Hi, I'm Michelle Mark Levine, as the controller graciously announced. I am the accounting person for the controller's office and for the city. And my responsibility with regard to Sandy is the proper reporting after the fact. But it actually is important because reporting on the grant expenditures to the federal government and doing it the way that they require so that they agree that all of our expenditures are eligible is going to guarantee that the city receives the reimbursement that we're entitled to, which means that there are funds available to do the programs we need to do. So that's my role.
Thank you, Michelle. Lisa.
Hi, my name is Lisa Flores, Deputy Comptroller for Contracts and Procurement. And our bureau reviews all applicable contracts before registration to make sure that they followed all of the rules and regulations and that the process was devoid of corruption. Important in terms of Sandy-related contracts, any contracts that haven't been registered yet that are in the hopper that the administration will be using for Sandy-related work will be coming through our office and reviewed very carefully to make sure that the process was done fairly.
And the Deputy Controller for Audit and Investigation, who's leading the investigation of Build It Back, Marjorie Landau.
Good evening. I'm Marjorie Landau, Deputy Controller for Audit and Investigations, and I've come to all of these hearings with Comptroller Stringer because they are really essential to the audit function that I'm engaged in. There is staff here from the Audit Bureau as well. We are right now looking at the Build It Back program, not just historically at what happened and didn't happen from the outset, but also looking going forward at what controls have been put in place in the current program to assure that, in fact, services are delivered. That's just the beginning of our look. We intend to come back when we've completed this audit after the program is run for a period and look to see whether indeed the controls are working. So we are looking at a myriad of issues, but these hearings are essential to what we do because we're not just looking at pieces of paper. We really need to understand where to go and what questions to ask, and we've been part of the follow-up process too. So I look forward to hearing from everybody here tonight.
Good evening, I'm Tim Mulligan. I'm the Deputy Controller for Budget, and the budget's important for Sandy because that's where the money is. The billions of dollars of largely federal revenues from both the FEMA Public Assistance Program as well as the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Relief Program. So that's the money that comes in from the federal government that's supposed to go back out to help residents, to help small businesses, and also to repair the city's public infrastructure like our roads and our schools.
Thank you, Tim. Amy?
Hello, I'm Amy Peterson. I'm the Director of the Mayor's Office of Housing and Recovery. I'd like to thank the Controller for including me this evening. This is a great opportunity for us to hear about the problems, and we know there are a lot of problems with the program, and we're really working to fix them and get the services and the help out to the homeowners in Red Hook. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, if you have individual complaints, we may take you off the line. Get your information. We're going to call you tomorrow. We have hundreds of people who have registered with the Controller's Office about various complaints, some about Build It Back, some about their insurance, some about specific other agencies, and we will follow up with all of you. That is my pledge. Before we begin, I just want to recognize a lot of representatives from our elected officials who have worked so hard in this community on this issue. Oscar Jonas is here from Senator Montgomery's office. Jerry Amer is here, from chair of CB6. Jovia Radix, Brooklyn Director for the Governor of the State of New York, Andrew Cuomo. Matan Sarsi from Councilmember Steve Levin. Kara Broughton from Assemblyman, we got some applause in the house. We have Karen from Assembly Member Felix Ortiz's office, and I know Carlos Manchaca, our council member, is going to be here at some point. I know he's in a lot of meetings tonight, and I want to thank his office for collaborating with us on this hearing. So here's the deal. You got 2 minutes and a little extra. There's a mic here, there's a mic there. If you would line up with your questions or comments, actually, we ask you, we'll begin the hearing. So this part of the room, don't be shy. This part, there's microphone number 1, microphone number 2. And again, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I know this has not been easy on any of you. And we also have District Leader. Say hello. Joanne Simon has arrived. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Joanne. Okay. You don't mind if I start on my left?
Hi. Is this working?
This working?
Okay, great. I'm Monica Byrne, and I live in Red Hook, and I own a business here. And I'm also the founder of Restore Red Hook, which is the organization we founded 5 days after Sandy when we discovered there was virtually no aid for small businesses rebuilding in the community. I would like to let you know that when I say small businesses, I mean micro businesses, teeny businesses that are run by moms and pops who work 50, 60, 70 hours a week in their businesses and do not have big administrative offices and accountants and bookkeepers on retainer to handle the huge, huge amount of bureaucratic work you need to get through to access the very little aid that there is. So Restore Red Hook responded to that need. We were able to raise a good amount of money, over $600,000, and we gave grants rather, to over 65 businesses in the community that represented 400 jobs. Unfortunately, the money that we raised was a teeny drop in the bucket for what most businesses needed in this community. And unfortunately, the programs that have been available by the city and state, and now the CDB, I always want to say CDGB funds.
Are you aging us? Don't.
Are absolutely inaccessible. As somebody who has been not only running this organization as a volunteer, and by the way, 100% of every penny we have raised has gone right back to the affected people. Not a single penny has been kept in overhead or administrative costs or staffing. Everything we do has been volunteer. And unfortunately, we are the only organization that can say that in this community. So, right now, we're trying to navigate through these incredible loans, and my business personally, 20 months later, is still working on applications from the SBA and CDGB. Imagine if you don't speak English as your first language. Imagine if you're not tech savvy and you don't have access to computers and the internet, et cetera, what it is to try and navigate these applications. Just to give you an example, on the latest loan, we need to prove that we owned the property that was destroyed. So, first of all, most people do not hold on to proof of ownership of property they own because they own it. But let's pretend that you are a type A personality who keeps your receipts. Where might you keep them? Maybe in a banker's box in your basement. So what happened to those things after Sandy? They washed away. You then need to prove that the items you owned were damaged. Right after Sandy, we didn't have power, and by the way, you mentioned up to 3 weeks. There are parts of the neighborhood that didn't have power until December. We didn't have power, heat, hot water, electricity, and all we could do with the thousands of volunteers who poured into the community was get stuff out to stop mold, to stop disease, to stop dangerous things from happening. Nobody was itemizing. Nobody was photographing every item. All the photographs we have are of the large mountains of the black bags that lined our street every day. So documenting what we lost is near impossible, and proving that we owned it is near impossible. And now we need to also prove that we did replace it, and then we can't get reimbursed for funds that we've spent on our own.
Well, look,
so the challenges are really insurmountable, and what we need is money to go directly to the people affected by the disaster, instead of going to all the programs, well-intentioned, and the administration of the programs.
Well, it's no accident that only out of $113 million that's allocated to business recovery loans and grants, only $3 million has been allocated. So we're trying to figure out where the logjam is, where the incompetence is, and the notion that small businesses think they can get reimbursed is next to impossible right now.
It's in the application process, and it's impossible.
You got that, Marjorie? Thank you very much. Sir.
Good evening. My name is Edward Tyree.
Just speak a little louder, and if everybody can listen up.
Good evening. My name is Edward Tyree. I'm the resident council president for Gowanus Houses. For about 10 years or better, I've been speaking to like supervision about, I think one way that helps eliminate these flooding problems is periodically, I think what needs to be done is the sewers and drains that are in the development need to be cleaned out rather than wait till the coming of a storm and then clean them out. If you clean these things out anytime, I say between 4 to 6 months a year. If there's a storm approaching, what you have to do basically is minor then. But if you wait until there's an upcoming storm, you don't have the manpower or anything else to get to all these different developments that are on borderline areas or where they can be flooded. Right now, a good example is, two good examples is in my development where our office is. If it rains hard, our basement get flooded. We had a building, 187 Hoyt Street. It rained so hard one time that the basement got flooded and refrigerators was floating in the water. So So that tells you the kind of water that was in the basement down there. So basically, it's simple things. So all you have to basically do is just, like I said, clean the drains periodically, clean the sewers periodically in the surrounding developments, and that in itself will help eliminate most of the problems that we have, especially with water.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. By the way, give a round of applause. Councilmember Manchaca has arrived, and we're very glad he's here. Thank you, Carlos. And he's going to speak throughout the evening, asking questions like the rest of us. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hello. Good evening. My name is Vilma Aramea. I'm from Carroll Gardens Association. The organization owns 106 units of affordable housing in Red Hook that were affected in some form, losing heat, hot water. We had to change boilers. We had to do mold remediation and reconstruction. The total cost of the organization was $1.1 million. We did not receive help from FEMA, a very small amount. A large amount of the money that we were requesting for, we were declined because they said they don't understand the way real estate deals work, that you have to set up a new entity. And so they said, oh, you're not responsible. And then when the Build It Back program came out, we were happy because there's another source of, funding for us. We've raised over almost $500,000 in grants from private sources. And so for the remaining amount, we were hoping Build It Back would help us. First we were sent to Breezy Point, and then after we've submitted a lot of documentation, and then after a while, Enterprise Community Partners called us up and said, oh, you have to apply through us because this is a multifamily program. And so we had to redo all the application again, and now we haven't closed. We're hoping we could get reimbursements because we've emptied out the project operating reserves, the replacement reserves.
When was the last time you've heard from Build It Back?
Yesterday they said we will close soon, but after a tremendous amount of paperwork, and we have, of course, to put in all the receipts, but which we have everything in order.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good evening. My name is Lorraine Barnes. I've been living in Red Hook many years. They were supposed to do my plaster in my house, in my bathroom, and in my kitchen, to stop where the leaks come from. It was supposed to be last month, now they're not doing it until November 7th. How come I have to wait so long for them to plaster my apartment?
When did you ask for the plastering?
Pardon?
When did you request the plastering?
Last month. I had a date. I had a doctor's appointment that day and I couldn't be home. And I couldn't get anybody to be in my house so that they could get in to do it.
Where do you live?
507 Columbia Street.
Okay, we'll get that plastered immediately. Jason, could you give us the information? We will take care of that.
Okay,
thank you. No, we will take care of that. And you will hear from us tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Barbara. I live 80 Dwight Street, Red Hook West.
Hello, Barbara.
New York City Housing. I'm concerned. Well, they didn't do anything in my apartment. I do my own apartment because I can't. I have a defibrillator. I have a lung condition. I can't. They paint, so I need painting and plastering. But I also have my main concern is we still have generators. Now I'm on oxygen because of the generators. There's soot on my windowsills because of the generators.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I'm on oxygen now.
Right.
Because of the generators, because of the soot and the air that's coming into my apartment.
Got it.
So, yes, pollution. So now I'm on oxygen in my bedroom, and I have a portable one because of the generators. And I don't understand why we're still on generators. If New York City Housing got money for boilers, why are we still on generators? It's just making the people sick. And I'm worried. I'm very sick now because of the generators. What's going to happen? What should I do about that?
Well, what you should do is please give me the information of the building, and we will get to work on it. We will get to work on it. And we want to. And let me also just say, the first audit, putting aside the hurricane, on January 2nd, I took office. You should know, for those who live in NYCHA, the first audit we announced that is still ongoing is a full top-to-bottom review of the New York City Public Housing Authority. That is happening apart from that is happening apart from this, and we're looking at issues related to repairs and mold and the whole gamut. So we're going to get back to you on that. So this is the one area that we know very well, but we will look at that generator issue, because you should not be inhaling.
Yes.
You should not be inhaling given the condition, or anybody else. Thank you.
May I just one question, if I could? Can you tell me what's the development you live in?
Red Hook West.
Okay.
Red Hook West.
Thank you. And it's a diesel generator?
Yes. And it's terrible.
Thank you.
How many people have the same problem?
All of us in the housing division.
Okay. Well, that answers that.
Hi,
Got it.
Hi, my name is Jay Marcus. I'm Director of Housing Development for Fifth Avenue
Jade,
Committee.
can you speak a little louder into the mic?
Jay Marcus. I'm the Director of Housing Development for Fifth Avenue Committee. And Fifth Avenue Committee was created in 1978 to promote economic and social justice in South Brooklyn. We work with over 5,500 people, primarily very low-income people. The average income of our clients is $10,000, doing job training, job readiness, benefits, assistance, and a good percentage of our residents and the people we work with are in Red Hook. We also own about 1,000 apartments, 150 of those in Red Hook and Gowanus. And those 7 buildings, similar to what you heard from Carroll Gardens Association, had severe flooding problems, lost electricity for several days. And we are still also waiting for our Build-It-Back money. We applied for Build-It-Back for those buildings and haven't heard. We're also fortunate, though, that a lot of our private people who work with us, like Citibank, like the Brooklyn Community Foundation, did provide us money. So we do have advocates who are working in the South Brooklyn and Red Hook community who you're going to be hearing from. We're going to outline some of the problems that people that they're working with are having in terms of Build-It-Back, as well as in terms of some of the basic infrastructure services in the community. And we've been working also in the community to try to organize, to try to build social resiliency. So we are hoping that as you move forward in these solutions, you are working with the community-based organizations to work in the community to get the services directly to the people. And you're going to hear a little more from Sabine Aronowski, Neg Lakou, and Renee Courlet from our department about the work we're doing in Red Hook and some of the specific issues we're hoping the city will be able to address now that Amy's at the head of Build-It-Back and we're finally starting to see some action there.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Jay. Ma'am.
Hi, my name is Carol Mack, and I'm here tonight to let you know that I've been having mold problem before the Sandy storm, and as well as has accumulated even worse. I'm also inhaling SUD. My daughter's on the pump, asthma, and we can't even live in our own apartment by doing that. She's on a machine. She has asthma. We constantly feel breathing in this awful backed up air. It's not clean, and we living like animals.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 13, and she shouldn't have to go to school or living in the living room and not sleeping in the bedroom and cannot function. It's peeling off the walls. I have mold all over the bathroom. They've been coming to my apartment over and over, have not done no removal, and it's bad. And black soot, and I mean pouring black soot.
And where is that now?
And this is in Red Hook West.
No. Where in the apartment? In the bathroom, bedroom?
Bathroom, bedroom, all through the home.
And you say, and who has come to the apartment? NYCHA?
Yes.
And when they come there, what do they say?
Nothing.
They just come, knock on the door?
Mold condition. I hear that you reported that you have mold condition. I said, yes, I showed them, and they just go. I got water damage within the walls that has been seeping down since Sandy storm. And
okay, we got to get with you tonight because this will help us on the NYCHA side. So would you talk to us tonight?
Yes, of course.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I just want to say I'm with Fifth Avenue Committee also.
Speak into the mic, please. You can lift it up.
My name is Neg Lakou, one of the Housing Recovery Coordinators with Fifth Avenue Committee. Just to touch on what Jay spoke about earlier in terms of the importance of community organizations, we've reached out to over 550 households in terms of Build It Back applications and registrations. We've done 32 housing assessments for homes to see, documenting how they've been repairing after the storm, just to make sure that they've been repairing them in terms of flood proofing for the next time around. We also have a couple other programs, neighborhood employment services, where we reach out to 66 impacted individuals, helping them get job placement, assistance with their resumes, career assessments. And then on top of that, we have 28 households that we've helped with foreclosure prevention.
So let me ask a question.
Yes.
What's wrong with this picture? You're not just telling me because you're a great organization.
No,
I know you are.
I'm coming
Tell
around.
me what you found.
Yes.
Why people are not satisfied. Why this whole program is a scandal.
Absolutely. With the assessments, we started to see that people were rebuilding their homes, kitchens in the basement again, drywall, and we think that there needs to be more emphasis on resiliency, flood-proof mitigation, and also understanding in terms of what options people have in terms of reconstruction for their homes. So some programs that we wanted to address that we've worked on that we think that maybe can be added onto was a design help desk where free consultation was given to homeowners from design professionals, and we did this program with Architecture for Humanity, HRO was part of that, HPD, and also Enterprise. And another thing that we wanted to emphasize was the Guidelines to Building Resiliency brochure that we put together. I have a copy right here that I can give to you guys.
I would like to hear it.
Specific
What has been your interaction with government agencies? Are you happy? Are you pleased? You'd be the first.
We'd like to see a little bit more, and we've been meeting with Amy, and she's been very responsive so far, but we want to get community organizations and Build It Back on the same page, and that means whether it's referring some of their applicants to us and working in terms of case management on a more specific level. That's something that we think we could work on.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Mary Dudney Kyle. I'm both a business owner and homeowner in Red Hook for many years now. On both levels, on a residential and a commercial level, I went for anything and everything. And I am not a person who, again, I can only imagine the difficulties when English isn't your primary language, because I have an education and I can't fill out these forms. I can't find the information for these people. And not only is it that, I feel like this whole thing turns into I'm standing before the Grand and Noble Oz. Because you know what, you guys? I have seen this lineup now with the fire and the smoke. Soon the symbols will come out, and you will all come and tell me how concerned you are for my depraved state, and then you'll move on. And it's been, yes, because it's been 20 months now. And I want to know, I mean, because you'll see the people who've gotten more than anything back from Restore Red Hook. I am one of those people, and I have worked for it. The level of alienation that this process has brought upon this community has been crippling, crippling in every aspect, not only in the way that the community was taken care of after, and again, we have all come to terms with a lot of things, but we felt like we were under a siege mentality in this neighborhood where we had police crews set up and patrol cars with their lights going and no one looking because the street lights were out. Red Hook was the only area in all of the affected boroughs that saw no rise in crime right afterwards. We took care of ourselves. We're neighbors, but nobody on the outside seemed to be treating us that way. And instead, people showed up with, excuse me, shit we didn't need. So they could feel good about helping, but there was no organization. What do I need with cups of pudding? know, I needed money to clean my house out.
By the way, I appreciate your right to be angry about this. I don't know how I'm going to catalog your testimony, you know, the SH in the report, but
this is New York, sir.
I know.
You know how to get it.
I'll figure it out.
Please.
But let me ask you a question.
Excuse me.
Which government agencies did you interact with?
Which I didn't.
Which
didn't I?
So you ran the gamut.
SBS, SBA, FEMA, you know, my personal insurance, Build It Back. Who else is there? How many? Red Hook Resiliency, Rising Red Hook, Rising Resiliency Red Hook, the Red Door, you know, everyone. And they all keep coming and saying, how you doing? How you doing? I got bubkiss. I've got a house that I've had to rebuild on no money and a business that I had to maintain while I'm trying to absorb the hundreds of thousands of dollars I have lost. I employ, everyone who works at my store lives in Red Hook. I had to worry about keeping them employed while everybody sat and said, how you doing? Excuse me, where's my money?
Fair question. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Renee Crowley. I'm from Fifth Avenue Committee. I'm a housing recovery coordinator. From the beginning stages of outreach for Build It Back, there was a great deal of skepticism from the community, mainly because the city had not stepped in earlier for relief. That being said, the Build It Back team has been very responsive in recent months and patiently listening to the concerns of the community groups, elected officials, and impacted families. Moving forward, the city needs to further engage community-based organizations and recovery efforts. CBOs have been on the ground and have a solid understanding of the unmet needs, the existing community relationships, and have a trust of the residents. By further engaging CBOs, the city can likely expedite its recovery efforts, have a resource for better communication between the city agencies and the community. The city also needs to focus more on prioritizing resiliency in the Build It Back recovery process. Homeowners need to be educated on these resiliency options and the long-term importance of resilient building tactics. If Build It Back funds are not being used on resiliency, the city needs to offer a program to help subsidize these often expensive home improvements. This could include, for example, affordable, low interest, or even forgivable loans for very low income homeowners so that they can make these resilient improvements. This program should run parallel with Build It Back for coordination purposes. Another issue I'd like to bring to light is the October 29th, 2013 deadline for the reimbursements should be extended because a lot of homeowners needed to make crucial improvements to their homes, such as winterizing their homes. Another point, it's important that there should be more coordination between Build It Back and the Department of Buildings to resolve issues, such as violations, so that people can move forward with improvements on their homes. I'd like to speak on TDAP. This program is not being utilized in an efficient manner, and there are further opportunities for this program to cater specifically to homeowners that will be displaced in the rebuilding process with Build It Back. And then finally, I'd like to point that the city should play a larger role in the discussions surrounding flood insurance rates and how flood insurance or how flood resiliency will impact those rates in the future. Thank you.
I want to thank the committee for coming and making very good suggestions. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
How do you do, sir? My name is Veronica Venaria. I'm a long time born and raised in Red Hook. Currently restoring the house my grandfather built in 1899. I signed up for Build It Back almost a year ago in July 14th. And had all my paperwork, first went online, and unfortunately, I keep coming to a wall of paperwork, something I need, can't get quite the signature or whatever I need to get past this blockade, so I can't move on, and I can't get reimbursed for any of the monies I've put out, which is everything I had, and I was just hoping that there would be possibly some way to recoup something that I've put in. It seems unfair that a paper is holding everything up that I don't think I can fill out. And in the same breath, I really want to thank all the nonprofits that came to my aid, that I can happily say that I'm halfway there in building back my heritage from 1899. And I want to thank Red Hook Initiative, Red Hook Volunteers, Rebuilding Together, God, and Good Shepherd. All of these organizations have been out of this world. If you could employ the people that run those programs, because they certainly got things done, if you could just get the people that work for these nonprofits, put them in the government, I think we will fare much better.
Can I tell you, in every community we've been, people praise the nonprofits, the community-based organizations that have filled the void the government's supposed to do. I need your information to get you that completed paperwork, and we're going to get that. So can someone from the office please help? If you just, where is everybody? Oh. Well, you can take it too. So, all right. All right. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sabina Aronowski, and I also work at the Fifth Avenue Committee in organizing and advocacy for the South Brooklyn Accountable Development Initiative. And we traveled here as a group together tonight from Gowanus. And we represent public housing communities here tonight from Wyckoff, Gardens, Warren Street houses, and Gowanus houses. So when I speak of Gowanus, I'm talking collectively of the public housing communities there. We also have rent-stabilized tenants that have traveled with us here tonight, who are predominantly Spanish speakers. So we do appreciate your taking the effort tonight to provide Spanish translation. Thank you. So we're here tonight because we want to make sure our community concerns are heard by you, the decision makers, who have such an important responsibility to ensure that recovery funds are being equitably distributed amongst the communities impacted by Sandy, and that programs are aligned across agencies to strengthen response and to audit ineffectual initiatives. With this in mind, here's a few of our on-the-ground observations and recommendations for Gowanus. 1, restore and improve surface transportation. We highly recommend that infrastructure recovery funds be directed towards addressing the needs of highly vulnerable populations and low-income residents that live in Red Hook and Gowanus in the storm surge and floodplains. Accessible transportation and planning for people with disabilities has been noted as a failure. New York City was found guilty of benign neglect. In addition to funding equitable surface transportation, we need clearly marked and updated evacuation routes for effective and coordinated transportation and better communications to assist residents when the city calls for evacuations. Number 2, fund community centers and make them more resilient. After Sandy, when 5 buildings at Gowanus houses were without services for 11 days, the closed Gowanus Houses Community Center became the convening hub for residents and volunteers and resource distribution. Securing full funding towards reopening the Gowanus Community Center, identifying additional community safe spaces, and ensuring programming and emergency preparedness resources can be maintained on site will greatly aid public housing and local communities to be more resilient. Number 3, target community engagement and outreach to vulnerable populations and coordination in response and planning for these communities. The digital divide is alive and well. Many residents are unable to sign up for NYCHA alerts or even notify NYC. Vulnerable populations in NYCHA housing are not informed that they must submit a voluntary disclosure form, which is only found online, in order for their household to be identified to voluntary organizations active in disaster response like the Red Cross. Number 4, increase NYCHA accountability, repairs, tackle the long-term mold crisis and health concerns. My associate Joanne Brown, who lives at Warren Street Houses, is going to talk about her experience. Leaking roofs, flooding, sewage backups at this development cause continual repair requests and inconveniences for residents and unacceptable and unsanitary living conditions that exacerbate health problems. Okay, I just want to point out NYCHA and DEP need to coordinate infrastructure repairs to remedy these on-site sewage backups. Otherwise, residents will continue to be exposed to sewage, and NYCHA will continue to have a backlog of repairs. Number 5, I'll just list them.
No, do me a favor. I get the point. Have you met with NYCHA?
Yes, we have met with NYCHA.
And when you give them this bill of particulars, what have they said to you? And you're a very distinguished community-based organization.
NYCHA is working on improving its relationships, not only with its residents, but with local community-based organizations. And we've
But you just listed all of these things. I'm just wondering what progress has been made for the tenants.
I'll let the tenants speak for themselves.
Do you have an impression, or just in your dealings?
Well, it's a new administration, so we've been giving the new administration a chance, and they are doing a lot better job than the previous administration. That's all I can say.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Thank you.
Can I please just add my other 3 points? Really, you need to reconfigure CERT team trainings. Right now, it's community board based, and that doesn't work. We need neighborhood-specific CERT trainings. We need to fund a long-term community response plan for Gowanus. Red Hook has a community recovery plan in place. Gowanus does not. And we need to increase stormwater management and coordinated perimeter protection. Otherwise, we're going to risk flooding our neighbors. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Adam Armstrong. I'm a resident of Red Hook, 12 or 13 years in Red Hook. I've been on the New York Rising Committee, and I also write a blog in the neighborhood that actually deals with pollution issues. So I know a little bit about diesel pollution. This diesel generator thing in public housing is a terrible thing. There's also one that's running on the side of this building as well. So you're having diesel generators right on the edge of dense populations, vulnerable ones. Something I'd like to say is, when working on the committee, we were dealing with neighborhood-wide issues. I'd like to talk personally from my point of view. I applied for Build It Back after Sandy, after not getting any money from FEMA, apart from some relocation money temporarily. I did apply for insurance, and I got a small amount from my flood insurance. I had flood insurance. I applied for SBA. I was awarded some money but didn't take it because it's a loan and I can't afford it, basically. Now, the Build It Back program has been, it was a great idea. It sounded like a great idea, but again, the paperwork, I've had to submit the same pieces of paper multiple times. I've had them call me asking for pieces of paper that don't even apply to my particular situation right now. I own a 2-family home. I lost my entire first floor. I don't, many people that buy houses in Red Hook, I'm a homeowner, we afford our mortgages by having a rental unit in our house. So I've lost income, I've lost my possessions, I've lost many different things. And I just feel like Build It Back hasn't been coming to the party on this. I mean, it's very hard to document all our losses. Like Monica said, and many people, Mary said, we were all in a panic afterwards. We didn't document anything. We did get, one thing I'd like to say about Build It Back, many of us are being asked to make our homes more resilient. And I think if we could move our mechanicals up, for instance, if we could get money to at least move our hot water systems and our boilers up a level, that would be helpful. It wouldn't get us back to zero, but it would stop the vulnerability of our residential population and also save a whole lot of money. So that would be a great way to use the money.
Can I ask a question? So when a number of you went and said, look, I can't find my receipts. I don't have my papers. They were in the basement.
Right.
The basement's flooded. You saw the pictures.
Right.
How can we make a bad situation better? What has been the options, the response, It's important for us to know because we want to figure out.
Sure.
Seems reasonable to us.
Yeah, I get it. Well, I think the thing is, if you can see what we got from insurance and see the damages, there's obviously a huge shortfall there. We haven't built back. We don't have an operational apartment. We don't have our boilers and hot...
But what do they say to you when you say, hey?
Well, I mean, they want receipts. They want documentation. Sometimes they want documentation. They wanted the lease of the gentleman that was living in my apartment. There was actually a friend of mine. They wanted rent checks right now. I said he was flooded out. I don't know. I mean, that guy had nothing. Like, people that rent in this neighborhood got nothing. Okay, so, I mean, he got nothing. However, they're asking me to give his rent checks. It's like we had Sandy forced him out.
Okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
And this is really important for the resilience of the neighborhood, and the city should know about this, and the city should be talking about this. Vice President Biden and Andrew Cuomo, our governor, got up and talked about a $200 million comprehensive integrated flood protection for Red Hook. We did not get rebuild by design money. Red Hook is vulnerable. Red Hook needs that money. We need to know from our city and from our state and from our local representatives where that money's coming from, how it's coming, and when it's coming. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you get that question for tomorrow? We're going to call you tomorrow with that answer. Okay? So get that question. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joanne Brown. I'm the Vice President of 572 Warren Street. Okay, now my first thing is that I have mold in my apartment for I don't know how many years. But then when I went to Mr. Jones, that's my management, and I said to him that there was mold, he told me that it wasn't no mold. And then when they sent out the people to, I guess I'm not really sure who they were, but they came out and they inspected and they were trying to tell me that it wasn't no mold. But then when I went to my doctor, I had 3 different letters from my doctor and letting them know that I had the mold. But then when I had to go and then take them to housing court, to me, I shouldn't have to take you to housing court to tell you about the mold if I'm trying to bring you the letters to letting you know that I have mold in my apartment. So see, now I'm suffering because see, I have sarcoidosis now in my lungs right now. So I'm really struggling trying to get around, but that's okay too. But see, I'm gonna keep on coming and letting people know what's going on in my neighborhood and why the flooding. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, like, I'm gonna stand up here and I'm gonna keep on complaining until somebody hear us and let them know. I'm gonna say for everybody, I'm talking across the board. My heart goes out to all these people that's out here in Red Hook or whatever. I don't live that far from Red Hook. But like I said, we have flooding too in our buildings. Really, every time it rains, it pours, okay? And then I'm just saying to you down in our community, there's nothing but asbestos and mold. But to me personally, I got pictures to prove everything that I'm saying. That's what they don't want me to tell you. So I might get in a lot of trouble now because I'm talking to you.
No, you're not gonna get in any trouble. Trust me.
But I'm to let you know, rather ahead of time. So see, if I do get in trouble, I'm gonna be a fighter. You hear what I'm saying? Because see, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna fight back at you. Okay, because this is ridiculous. To me, like I said, I'm making the suggestions right now, but you got people that are living inside the projects. Okay, I understand really that they don't have really the education really that everybody else have, and neither do I. I'm still trying, I'm working on my diploma too, okay? So I don't care. I'm not afraid to stand up here and tell you that I'm working on my diploma. So, but see, I'm saying to you, you got people that's living in these projects that can come out there, they're willing to work. Okay, you don't have to go out to rotate to see other places and then get them like a resume or whatever. Some of these people, they don't have resumes. They don't have that, but then they got hands-on. You know, you can train these people, okay, to do these things, like to do stucco and how to be putting down some floors. Some of these people, they know how to do all those things, okay?
So can we just make something clear for the people going to speak after you? The test here, we should make this very clear. The test is not the education, the formal education you have as to how successful you are in getting the government to act on your behalf. It doesn't matter. So let's take that out tonight. That has no bearing on what we're doing, okay? I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. But I'm just telling you, letting you know that I'm here, rather on behalf of all of NYCHA projects. You hear me?
Here's what I need you to do.
We have too much mold, too much flooding, and like the gentleman said before me, the president of Gowanus, we do. Well, once you get the drainage, you don't clear up out of there, because the lady on the first floor, she got nothing but sewage backing up in her apartment every time it rains.
Do me a favor. Would you speak to Corey? I need your information, and would you talk to him?
Sure.
Because I want to follow up with you.
Yeah. Okay.
And
okay, thank you.
Ma'am, I got one question for you, if I could. Just the flooding problem you had. Was that before Sandy, or that only came after Sandy? Or you had a flooding problem?
No, this was before Sandy. But now it's so worse. I mean, like, every time it rains, this poor lady is really struggling because they had a lady in their apartment and one old before her. They had to move her. But then the point is that they asking them for receipts. Don't know. Okay, I'm gonna put it like this. Do not nobody hold on to no receipts once you go and buy something. So how can they give you a receipt for something if they don't have it? Okay, and that's the same thing I was telling my management. Brother, when I had the flooding, I didn't have nowhere to cook. I didn't have Thanksgiving. I didn't have Christmas, and I didn't have even New Year's. But I was living in an apartment. It was smelling so bad till I had to go out and buy food from the restaurant every day. But what I kept on my receipts, you think they offered to give me any money back? No. But they got copies of it though, okay?
That's right, yes.
And I got all of my receipts to prove it though. But I
Okay.
gave it to them, and nobody called me back to office and said, oh, you're here, I'm gonna give you like 500 maybe. Or
We're gonna help you. We're gonna help you tonight. I need you to talk to Corey, okay?
No problem.
Thank you, ma'am. Give a round of applause. Next.
My name is Lou Soames, and I own a small single-family house in Red Hook. I have a very different story than you've heard so far, but I think there are a lot of people, especially small homeowners that own small homes, that are in the same boat I was. First of all, right after Sandy, like a lot of us, we gutted it ourselves. Rapid Repair came in, kudos to them. I did get a lot of help from FEMA and SBA. I got a loan and I got a grant. The problem, however, is the only way I was able to get that was to build my house immediately back. And we did not know until months and months afterwards that the possibility of how we should change our houses. Then we got the whole information about FEMA, about raising and lifting and all that stuff. So we went, a lot of us, I think there's a lot of homeowners in this room, maybe not, but I think so, that actually just started the work, went ahead with our own money, with FEMA money, with SBA money, and then now we can't get insurance. We can't get, well, basically we can't get insurance.
Right.
And if we do get insurance, it's very expensive and it won't cover the basement. Now, my kitchen is in the basement. In another neighborhood, it would be called, in Carroll Gardens, it would be called an English basement. Or a garden apartment. But the old houses in Red Hook, a lot of the basements were the kitchens.
Right.
Now, for me to change that would have been $250,000, $300,000. All I got was about $70,000. I thank God for that, and I thank God for Red Hook Initiative and Monica's group and Red Hook volunteers. They were unbelievable. People helped me tremendously, but now I'm in a fix. I don't know what to do. And lastly, when I called Build It Back, the lady that answered the phone said, first of all, and we don't make all that much money, but we're middle class people.
It's all right.
We were told, number one, we probably won't get any help from Build It Back because we're above the income level. It's going to go to lower income people first. I applaud that. Second of all, the lady said to me, we don't even know, you would be in round B and we're not even sure we're going to get through round A. So I withdrew my application from Build It Back because number one, I didn't think they were going to get to me. And number two, they would want me to build it back, and I'd have to rip out $70,000 worth of work that I already put into my basement. So that's it.
Can we take your information? I need to know them. Ma'am?
Hello, my name is Teresa Davis.
You can just speak a little in the mic.
Hello, my name is Teresa Davis. I'm a Ferry Board member. I'm also a Gowanus Board member, also a Gowanus resident. I don't understand. We have a community center sitting there that's closed that could have been used during Sandy for emergency. But we did use it to a certain extent, but it had to be closed at another time. We couldn't be there all day using the community center because we had people in there with emergencies that couldn't get down because the elevators and everything, where our elderly people didn't have food, didn't have water and stuff. So we had people from Ferry, FAC, and residents going up 15 flights, 12 flights to get water and food to these people. If the community center had been open before that, then that could have served as a purpose, as a safe haven for people that did not have relatives or family to go someplace that could have stayed there. And I don't understand where, okay, they said it was because they don't have money. Okay, as a resident and a Ferry Board member, we walked around door knocking. We got $325,000 for our community center repairs. So, okay, why is it not being fixed? Why is nobody not talking with us? Now, why is nobody not saying? We got $400,000 for our parks and stuff. Okay, so when is NYC going to do these repairs so that our community center get reopened and stop making excuses? Because now we, as the people in the surrounding communities, got up, door knocked, went out, we got the money that we needed for repairs. So now when are we gonna get help to open the community center? What is it gonna be next? Next is gonna be something else. We're saying, oh, no, you need this and no, you need that. We came up, we stood up, and we got the money for our repairs. So when is it gonna happen?
Just to clarify, just to clarify, you have collected all the money you need for the repairs, but you're not able to get access to have them done?
No, nothing is being done yet.
And that's because NYCHA is not allowing access to the facility?
We don't have, the only access that they have there is if they have the lunch program in there for the seniors.
Right.
Other than that, nothing else can be done in that community center. The stays closed.
Because of the condition of the center?
You can come and look at the condition. It's not that bad as they saying. But we do have the money because we want a participatory budget, getting out, running around, doing what we had to do in our community. So the money is there to fix it.
Okay.
When
You know what we're gonna do?
Give up the money
I got an idea.
so it can be fixed, and we can have our community center.
We're gonna
open
come
up
out-
again.
we're
It
gonna
can be
come out-
saved as a safe haven.
We're going to come out with Carl, so we're going to check out the center, and then we're going to speak to NYCHA. You know, we got security cameras that they got to put into the developments, and they also have to make some of these repairs as well, and we're working on that. So let me get your information, and we'll certainly come out. I promise you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Valerie Hill. I'm a longtime
Can you speak into the mic, please? Thank you.
Could you raise it? Hi, my name is Valerie Hill. I'm a longtime resident of Red Hook West.
I'd like to give this to Mr. Spiller.
My address is 15 Bush Street. My thing is, they're NYCHA. They're so busy fixing the outside of the project, they're not doing the inside of the apartments. If you walk across that street, you'll see scaffolding, fences. They're fencing us out of our own buildings. You got to see this. I feel like I'm on Rikers Island, to be honest with you, because everything is fenced in. You have to go all the way outside of your area just to get into your area. And it makes no sense to me. Yesterday, the elevator, you couldn't ride the elevator unless you're on the first floor in the elevator, somebody on the 5th floor has to ring for it for me to get to the 5th floor. In order for me to get to the 1st floor, they got to be downstairs. I'm in the elevator, and it has to go down. Today, I come home from work. They got signs all over the elevator saying asbestos is in building 11. Where is all this coming from? What's going on? I don't understand what's going on. And the scaffolding that they have, it's not even to the buildings. The scaffolding is like almost in the street. It's not even covering the building in case they're working. Well, I don't even see them working because I leave early in the morning. But it's just that you got to see something is not happening here. They're like giving us a smoke screen, like making us think that they're working, because it's you know, you got to go across the street and take a look.
When was the last time someone from NYCHA came to your apartment to actually look about fixing the inside of your apartment?
I work every day. The only way they can get in my apartment is on my day off, but they tend to, you know, when they send people like, on my day off, I'm home. They had the nerve to say, the guys say they came out and you wasn't there. If I'm gonna stay home from work, I'm not going anywhere. So those people just didn't come. Right. And they believe them because I guess that their employees over.
But they're telling the world they're making all the repairs.
And they, you know, but you gotta go across the street. You wouldn't believe.
That's why we're doing the audit.
It's crazy.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Carrie Gadsden. I live in Gowanus. I gave your assistant a report that was done by various organizations throughout New York City regarding Sandy, the condition before and after the storm. A survey, we went door to door, asking people for their opinion about the repairs and their problems regarding Sandy. I would like you, you have a copy. I would like you to read the report.
I will.
But this is system-wide. That was one thing. Second thing, well, the community center they already spoke about. Third, I have a heating problem. Last year they came in, I called, told them I had mold. They came in, they did some, put some chemicals on the wall. First I did the Clorox thing. Then I put up my wall-to-wall drapes for the winter. I took them down yesterday, I have mold. I have contacted NYCHA over 150 times. I have the ticket numbers. I have reports. The ticket stuff to show where NYCHA ignored my heating complaint. if I have a heating complaint on Friday after 4 o'clock, I will not get heat until Monday. If it's a holiday, Tuesday, after the day tour comes in. NYCHA says, I looked at the ticket. Friday evening, Friday I called. Before 6 o'clock, my heat was off. I called. They did not do it. Plus, I said, what time does the evening tour or the emergency work? If emergency is in Brooklyn, over in Ashford Street, it takes more than 45 minutes to drive down in town. I have mold. I didn't have time to call them because I had a doctor's appointment today. I have been calling them. They keep telling me they have to cut it off because if someone calls with too much heat, they cut it off on the whole line. Then they tell me I'm the only one complaining. I say, I write you my rent check. You don't get a community rent check. Therefore, I am not interested in what other people do. I want my heat. I have been calling them. I wrote the manager 2 years ago. I called her this year. I asked her, what are you going to do? She said she can't do nothing.
Well,
I've been to housing court.
Let me do this. Do you have the ticket stubs? You have the receipts, the tickets?
I have the numbers. I have a copy of some of the tickets. You know where they came in.
Would you give them to us?
Okay, and then I have a copy of their ticket order, the work order.
Okay, I need that.
Okay.
Okay, can we get that tonight, or we can take your information? We really need that. That'd be very helpful.
I can mail it to you because it's like I only
You know
have
what we're gonna do? Where's the staff? Corey, come over here.
And then secondly, there's some other people. I went around to their apartments to do the participatory budget. 14A and 423 has a leak. 14A,
Okay, we'll take that.
You take all the information?
We'll take all the information, and the councilman's participatory budgeting. I went to it. It's really good.
Yes,
so that's
it is.
right. So let's give him a round of applause for that.
Yes.
So we got to look at the good stuff in a community, Carlos, and I was there myself. All right. Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming.
Good afternoon. My name is Terry Howard. I live in 80 Bush Street.
Speak a little louder, please.
My name is Terry Howard. I live in 80 Bush Street. I've been having problems with mold, leaks for the longest time. Now in my apartment, I have pictures. I've been in the hospital so many times for my asthma. I grew asthma from being in this apartment. Now my baby has asthma.
How old's the baby?
She's 17. And I reach out to housing. Every morning I'm waking up in a puddle of water. My neighbor's leaking from above. My light fixture went out. I just came out the hospital Thursday. And the housing people keep coming, they looking up like it's gonna stop when they look at it. You know what I'm saying? I give them my days off. Nobody comes. But then when I'm out sick, then you want your rent. How can I pay you rent if I'm constantly sick and in the hospital? I done gave all I can. Bed's been messed up. FEMA didn't do anything for me. I'm on the first floor. Tub's running over. I'm bailing water from the tub. Floor's messed up. Bed's messed up. FEMA gave me $580 for 3 beds, dressers. Come on.
I don't know what I'm auditing tonight. Build It Back or NYCHA? It's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
Maybe a little of both.
When I say my furniture has been damaged, I tell housing, they saying, oh, you got to go to small claims court, or do you have your receipts? I'm a working mother, and I do fix up my place nice, decent, and why should it be damaged from other people? Right now, you can all come to my house, and you see water coming down. I have video. Water coming from my neighbors. They said the 3rd floor. They said the 2nd floor. I had to call the fire department because there's water in my bathroom fixture. It blew out. The fire department said, if we come back here again, we're going to have to turn off the water. This was Saturday. Housing never came here yet. And they're not coming. But they still, where's your rent? Where's your rent? Where's your rent? Where's your rent?
Got it. Would you mind giving us your name and information? Thank you. Sir.
Hello, I'm
By the way, we've been joined by District Leader for the 51st AD, Aurelis Martinez. Thank you for being here this evening. Thank you.
My name is Tim Gilman. I'm a longtime Red Hook resident. My family was displaced by the hurricane. I also applied for the Build It Back program when it first opened a year ago. And I hope that with your audit that it will be a productive audit to improve the program for everybody in it.
Me too.
I think if you're looking for reasons as to what went wrong with the program, I think you can start at the beginning of the de Blasio administration when they were unresponsive in terms of making resiliency and recovery a priority when he first came into office, or even when he had already been elected before he came into office, and his did not appoint a director to the program until 3 months after he was in office. So basically the program languished, at which point he appointed Amy Peterson, who I think the program has changed significantly since she's been in charge, and we're seeing substantial changes, but we still have the old system overlapping what she's doing in terms of reforming the new system. As I said, I've been out of my house for a year. My family has had to move out of the city. Today I met with an engineer at my house to talk about how they're going to elevate my house. So there's some great hope in our future that we're going to be.
You see a little sunshine in this, a little bit. Well, that's good.
The timeline, unfortunately, is undetermined. But the woman that I met with today, an engineer, a very capable woman, sees 6 of these houses a day and has seen 1,000 houses. So it seems to me that the volume that they're dealing with is tremendous. I hope that they have the resources to do this, and what I would like to suggest is several things. One, the paperwork is incredibly complicated and onerous for homeowners. A lack of documentation, just the forms have gotten simpler, the forms have gotten better, but it is still very complicated to work with. The best thing would be if each person could have a caseworker, a case manager that they could personally come to with each of their individual claims. Each of these has to be handled.
We've heard that from across the city.
Yep.
Just a caseload and manage it.
Excellent improvement with a proper caseload for those people, but also I think that there should be an incentive for both the caseworkers, but also the architects, the engineers, and the builders to be from the communities. Because then some of this money that's been given to us on a federal level can actually come down to the community to benefit. Because we have architects in this neighborhood, we have engineers, we have builders, we have all those people. If there's an incentive within the program to source that stuff locally, that could be a help to the community on an economic level as well as on a resiliency and recovery level.
Listen, we should be able to get 30% local hiring. Nobody knows how to build a community better than the people in the community, so we agree with you. Especially our kids.
In addition, there should be a concerted effort to try to keep the houses intact in the way that they are, so there have to be significant changes to them, but we want to preserve the character of the neighborhood, and we want to make sure that the people who live here can stay here, because as Lou pointed out before, the increases in flood insurance that we're looking at, we're going from $1,000 a year to $4,000 a year with a 15% increase promised to us every year. So there needs to be some kind of mitigated insurance rates so that people are making certain changes can get some credit for it. Another thing that we can do is, make sure that there is a rapid repair program in place so that the next time this happens, because unfortunately it is going to happen again, that all these repairs that are made are actually resilient repairs, because rapid repairs was able to eat up an enormous amount of money and not make anybody less vulnerable the next time around. So we need to have a director of rapid repairs in place with a plan in place that's as effective as the new administration of Build It Back.
I think your testimony is compelling. How many people feel that there's an emergency plan in place right now for the city of New York or this community if something were to happen again? Does anybody feel that way? That's how much work we have to do to get this done, and we have to do it fast. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to start off by first thanking you, Comptroller. I've been around for over 50 years, and this is the first time I've ever seen a controller come to Red Hook. So I gotta say thank you for that. That shows a lot.
Thank you.
And just watching you and how you have your staff
That's
and everybody working the crowd, it's beautiful. Also, I want to say thank you to Carlos. Carlos was down there to save
Yeah.
NYCHA, and he also came out here after the child was killed about a week ago, and we spoke to him, and the following day, he was down there in front of the courts, and he brought the information to
I want to let you know, right after I got elected, the first thing out of Carlos's mouth to me is, when you coming to Red Hook,
Oh, that's
okay?
beautiful.
So it's great to be
both.
here.
I'd like to say
thank you.
thank you both. I'd also like to say to everyone here, I feel your pain, all of the homeowners. I hope you understand our pain as well. I've been in Red Hook living on the first floor since 1989. I raised 2 children through college, right in Red Hook. I'd like to say that there are no ceilings on the rent. There's no ceiling. So I've been striving over the years, you know, to try to better myself. And what I did was I went through a New York State apprenticeship program, and I learned AutoCAD. I learned how to do blueprints. I started learning about engineering and what makes buildings work and where the utilities go. And that's because I hated housing so much. I hated the fact that they would not do a repair. So I'm one of those type of girls that if you're not gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what got me involved in this. I'm out of a job right now. So I am looking for work. I have a resume. I'm not as confident as I should be, but I'm nowhere near as incompetent as I was 4 years ago. So I want to say that. I want to say that the situation with the senior center, that was a situation that was kind of percolating before the storm, because I remember being at a meeting where they were trying to pick and choose which senior center they were going to close.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I remember that point.
Okay.
And I want to say that when it comes to seniors, I have several 80-year-olds in my building who stayed there during Sandy. I stayed too, because I wasn't gonna let them stay in their building by themselves, okay? Now, when it comes to them, it's very hard for seniors to leave places that they know. That includes senior centers.
Everybody knows that you don't close the senior center because the senior doesn't go to the next center.
They don't.
Stays home, locks the door, and doesn't come out.
So
And
I'm
that's right.
dealing with that too, and I'm trying to work. Meanwhile, I had mole issues. I have to say housing did come and fix them after I went to court on them. But here's my problem. Right after the hurricane, I was just getting my foot in the door with this new job, engineer technician, okay? I'm already nervous there. I'm calling housing about refrigerator repair, mold, water coming through the ceiling. I had to take off so many days that I didn't have a personal day or a sick day when I needed it. So that started deteriorating my, the perception that the job had about me. I couldn't keep my problems to myself. I was coming to the job, getting calls from NYCHA, calling back, calling the ticket place, calling this, and they started seeing that, hey, she lives in public housing. Well, let me tell you about public housing. There's no ceiling on the rent, okay? We pay 1/3 of our income. I made $50,000 last year, okay? That put my rent over $1,000. Okay, but I didn't even have a chance to get up on my feet. I didn't even get a chance to buy myself a decent suit so that I would have something different to wear to work. And I started feeling a certain way. And it started showing on the job. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to understand that these dynamics run far. And when I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the guys put up the scaffolding, I'm getting mad because I want to work. I want to work. Come on, I'm only 51. I gotta work. I cannot afford to sit on my ass. Now I go down to public assistance after years of not being on it. They treated me so bad in the last 45 days, running me down there. I go everywhere with my resume. I walk in the welfare office, dressed for a job, with my resume, with my track safety, my OSHA, my this, my skills, my that. Nobody looked at my resume. Nobody.
We're gonna help tonight. Okay?
I'm sorry that I made it personal because I really came here to talk about one more thing. Can I say one more thing?
Yes, ma'am.
We really need air quality and ground quality check out here in Red Hook. When that water came up, we already had Brownsfields. Brownsfields are just contaminated soil covered with a little bit of something. I think the water really got in there and brought that up. Now people are getting bit by spiders winding up in Methodist Hospital. There's asthma, there's all kind of ticks and fleas in the grass. I live on the first floor. I need somebody to come and remediate, especially since they're putting in boilers. I see the guy digging in the dirt. Now, I know construction. Before you start digging in the ground, you're supposed to look for vermin. You're just supposed to look for rats' nests and all of that. They started digging already. I'm on the first floor.
Here's what we're gonna do. Let me see how we can help person. Someone have a tissue?
I want all y'all business card too. Anybody who think they somebody in here.
I do like your style. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. All right? Let's get some water too. Okay.
No, he didn't say yet. Wait.
You did very good. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon.
Can you speak in the mic, please?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Cheryl Braxton. I'd like to thank Ms. Mosley for calling me about this hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Mosley.
I received a call from her, and I was like, thank you, because usually I do a lot of work in the community. I work with Occupy Sandy during the storm. I work with everybody that's here, really, all the organizations. I always volunteer, so it just seems that our community needs that help, so most of the time I do. I just want to say that thank you, Comptroller, for coming here. I did lose a TV. I did lose a computer. I did lose some of the electric stuff that's in my house. I also want to say that the library, I'm the liaison to the library now, and I would appreciate if we did get some books and keep the library up. Also with NYCHA, they were supposed to give us workers. We need more workers out here, which the NYCHA was supposed to be working on, education and jobs and stuff like that. So obvious, Comptroller, we really need a lot of help.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna say it like that. So
thank you for
I'm not
coming.
gonna keep it. I'm gonna sign everything up over
Thank
here,
you.
and you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out tonight. Okay, buddy.
I'm going to be just a couple of minutes, be as quickly as possible. My name is John Curbo. Long story short, my background is Army Special Operations. Could you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And I focus on tackling pressing social problems here and abroad. And my backstory is after the hurricane, I started a project with key people across the neighborhood to try to create a platform for people to come together, form ideas, and share their talent, their skill, and things like that. And the main thing I wanted to talk about was not just innovation, but innovating the way money and resources come into Red Hook and other communities. And I'm speaking from experience being all over the world, from South America to Afghanistan, and there is a deeply broken system that needs to be improved. Now that said, government grants are great, the budget cycle is great. What I'm proposing is not contrary to that, it's simply complementary, other ways of doing it. And there's mainly two items, looking at the successes and failures, but mainly successes of Sandy relief and other things I've seen all over the world. There's two main things I want to discuss very briefly. The first one is a neighborhood-wide conversation is already taking place in Red Hook between businesses, veterans from all different wars, between seniors, elders, youth, people across Red Hook. That said, the ability to share ideas and tackle a lot of these pressing problems, including local sourcing, getting people to work, educating youth, and then complaining about things that need to be addressed. A lot of this is possible to do locally. And the conversation promoting is similar to an incubator, a hub for sharing the best ideas and resources and coming up with solutions. And there's no shortage of that in this neighborhood. The second main issue, though, is about funding, innovating the way this gets tackled. The main obstacle to this that I've seen is not in communities like Red Hook, especially Red Hook. It's not laziness, it's not turf wars, it's not a lack of trying. It's the extreme slowness and difficulty of getting even basic capital into much needed projects and ideas. And I think, and I know we can tackle this, the thing is we put a lot of innovation into every other area of our life, from finance to business to porn and violent video games for kids to nanotechnology and social apps. The one area that seems to be stagnant is getting money into communities. There are ways in Afghanistan, a place that is not much more literate than people were during biblical times, There are ways to work with the village and get money where it needs to go. That said, and in closing, what I'm suggesting is we have not just this neighborhood-wide conversation we're having now, but a conversation between Red Hook and the rest of the country, the rest of New York City, and simply talk about this. Talk about better ways to innovate how we get resources into Red Hook when people find projects.
Well, let me say two things.
Sure.
Thank you for your service to this country.
No worries.
And because that.
Hey, you're trying to serve it right now, man. But I appreciate it.
And it's nice that you're back here, you know, in Red Hook. But one thing I would suggest to you, who obviously is an activist, you know, when Carl's initiated the participatory budgeting, that is a community conversation.
Absolutely.
And I just know that this is not going to be my last time at Red Hook, so maybe we're starting something.
Sounds great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Abe Zainali. I am a property owner, a five-family since 1986, about 28 years, and I well maintained my property prior to Sandy. Unfortunately, Hurricane Sandy damaged the first floor, basement as usual, and the building is frame about 1925 build or so. It doesn't have proper insulation. As a result, the mold gone to second floor, to third floor, and so forth. Due to nature of the building being five-family, it doesn't fall in the building code of criteria of 1 to 4 family or 6 or more. It's just a very odd type of building, which very difficult in different types of building applications, either through the building department, even through the Build It Back NYC. On the 3rd of June of last year, on the day of inception of Build It Back NYC, I was the very first few people that applied for Build It Back NYC. They referred me to go to Coney Island and fill up applications. I took tons of papers and filled up, and from my history of beginning till today, continuously kept giving them multiple times paperwork. Eventually they lost, and they lost, and they lost. Ultimately in January, February of this year, I heard in NPR, the organization that which taking a contract with the Build It Back has taken $50 million just to fill up the applications. And then ultimately they lost everything. And then they had to redo it. The bottom line, $50 million is a lots of money, and it's taxpayers' money, and I have paid my taxes, my due past 50 years. Unfortunately, there were no degree of accountability on that, and so far nobody become responsible for that. I sincerely appreciate if your organization, in the first step in a macro level, look at that aspect.
We certainly are. Marjorie, do you have a question?
Yeah,
Sure.
I just want to make sure
Sure.
you give your information to our folks, because we do want to follow up with
Yes.
you. We have been hearing week after week the story about paperwork loss. This is something we're looking at, and so we want to specifically talk to folks who have information about
Sure.
that.
I have taught buildings management, and I have been in building industry for about 50 years, education, graduate degrees, and so forth. The bottom line is, unfortunately, the people who they run Build It Back and the secondary organizations, which they are the bridge between the applicant and victims and the government, unfortunately, they are more waste, more fraud, more abuse on the funds that should be coming us. The funds come from the federal government as grant to us. Unfortunately, they define that grant as a mortgage loan to us. And then when the very first they came to me, to my building on September 12th of last year, I asked them what type of mortgages and how. They tell evaporating mortgage. I told terms and conditions. No terms and conditions. Then it kept adding and adding. The bottom line, they kept giving me false, erroneous promises that we are going to raise your 3-story building to the sky. We have put heating, hot water. I have worked around the clock there. Unfortunately,
Okay, do me a favor.
Take
Let me get that information.
Sure.
Marjorie wants it, and we'll try to help, okay? Thank you. Thanks for being out here tonight with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Controller. Thank you very much for coming.
Could you speak in a mic, sir?
I'll try. My name is John McGettrick. I'm co-chair of the Civic Association here, and we thank you and welcome you.
Thank you.
I think the concerns about Build It Back were very eloquently addressed. I think at the outset, Monica hit it right on the nail when she said, with regard to the assistance that came to the community, it came from within the community. And I think...
No, she did start it out right.
She did, and honestly. I think, with a few exceptions, I think that, frankly, the sanitation department performed extraordinarily well. And actually, if we were looking for another government entity in a smaller form, Carlos did very well.
I've heard that. Yeah.
But I think that Adam hit on the nail on the head with the long-term issue that hopefully will be addressed more succinctly and competently than Build It Back. And that is the commitment of $200 million to make us a flood-resilient community.
Right.
We have now seen announcements being made with regard to other communities in the city and the plans that will, in fact, be implemented. We have not heard anything with regard to Red Hook, one of the most vulnerable communities of all.
We're gonna take your information as well, because that was a question that's come up, and we will have answers tomorrow.
And the last thing is that we should also desperately improve our transportation, and there are ways of doing so. We are desperately in need of a ferry service that will connect us to Harbor School for the children in Red Hook, help us in time of a future disaster, help the economic development in Red Hook, and the residents and workers in Red Hook. It can be easily done and should be done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. We're almost there.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Price. I'm from the Red Hook Star Review, the local paper of Red Hook. Thank you for coming out and giving your time. If everybody in Red Hook came out to tell their story, you'd be here for about 6 weeks.
Oh, I know.
That is what I did after Sandy. And there are stories, and there are stories, and there are still stories. I want to share something with you, so please stick with me for a moment. In 2011, on the corner of Columbia and Summit Street, a woman was hit by a car and killed. She was a pedestrian. DOT came in and they put up a stop sign that later turned to a red light, that later turned back to a stop sign, that is now nothing. There is nothing there. Between Hamilton Avenue and Union on that street,
Someone wrote it down?
there is not one traffic signal. I didn't come here tonight to talk to you about traffic signals. That's more of an analogy. I understand that this hearing is about Sandy, but it goes beyond that. Red Hook is being neglected by their city, their state, and their federal government across the board. DOT, our health system, Sandy recovery, a number of other issues. We should not have a 40-year-old man, the father of 3, be missing from this community. There should not be a 14-year-old missing from this community. While I appreciate you coming out, I want to know what is going to be done. I've seen people come here and they've made promises, most of the time campaign promises. I don't want to hear what you're going to do. I want to see what you're doing. Red Hook is not a community of third world citizens, and we should not be treated like that. That's all I've got. Thank you for coming.
Well, I just want to say thank you for saying it the way it should be said. Listen, I'm here tonight, but this is not the test. The test is what happens after tonight. I know that. I could have done this audit at the municipal building in Manhattan. We decided to go out into the community to talk directly with people. And here's what but by the way, it's nothing special either, because that's probably what you should do, right? We're learning because we're talking. And the promise I can make to you, because we're not in campaign mode, right? The promise I'm gonna make to you is we're gonna do the best we can to get the answers, and we'll keep coming back. And you know, I'm at a point in my life when I see a child that is hit by a car, when you see a child that's missing, you know, I know I'm new to the community. You know, you saw, you know, I had a campaign, but I know I'm new. I'm 54 years old. I've been a borough president. I've been a controller, but I also have a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old. That's another story, but... And so a lot of why we're here tonight is not about ourselves. It's really about those kids. And that is why we have to get to the bottom of this and build Red Hook and keep coming back, because there are childs in public housing tonight who have asthma, who are not getting the resources they need to be successful. And that gets me very angry. And that gets me very motivated. And I know I speak for everybody here. So we'll keep coming back. But you're right to hold us accountable. And part of what I'm going to do is we're going to hold Build It Back accountable. We're going to ask the questions. We're going to make them angry. I want to know what's going to happen with every single issue we give them related to repairs. And if I have to do this hearing every single week, we're going to do it, because I have traveled into communities and listened to 10 hours or more of testimony. I would not have believed it unless I was in the community. You can't make this up, and it gets me angry as well. Yes. We're going to get to you, but hold on. Let's give it, I also want, Carlos would like to say something as well.
Thank you, Comptroller, and buenas noches, everyone. I just want to echo the work that has been happening in this community for such a long time. Good night. I'm Carlos Machaco, your council member, and I'm so proud to be standing up here with our Comptroller, because he's absolutely right. Really the day after, I think, the election, I told him that he needed to come here. He needed to come here because what we all know is the truth. In this community, for such a long time, this community has taken care of itself. And we've heard tonight long and really even in short testimony how this community continues to come together, even during Sandy or in times before Sandy. This work that is needed is going to be, and I'm going to remind everybody of how the work that happened during the time right after Sandy in this response, it was because we came together. It wasn't one person, it was everybody coming together. We need that to happen at the government level, which is why the Comptroller is here, which is why I am here, which is why we're working with other city council members, which is why we've created a committee just strictly on Sandy. Before the mayor was able to do anything, we at the city council created a committee that's going to review everything. Now that Amy's on board, you've heard some positive things that have come out. It's been such a long time. This whole program, Build It Back, and NYCHA has been failing this community. We're angry. We are angry, and we want something to happen, and we want something to happen now. And we know it's not going to be easy, and that's why we have the time that we have for the next 4 years to make sure that this is a community that is getting action. So here's 3 things that I want to make sure I leave with you. One is you want answers, and you want to make sure that we take your applications. If you're a Build It Back, we're going to bring you back into this room on June 25th at 7 p.m. We just got everything finalized by the school and Build It Back and everything. Come back on the 25th with your applications, and there's going to be caseworkers ready to go with you to make that happen. On the resiliency side, there is a meeting that has been dwindling in passionate members. We want to reinvigorate the long-term recovery plan that is being built right now. So when the next time we ask the question, are we prepared? Everyone's raising their hands, but it's not going to happen if you're not there. And that's 6 p.m. at Good Shepherd Services. Now, on Thursday, this Thursday. And we have flyers over here. Thank you. Thanks, Reg. And the third thing I want to say, in really all of this, is as we continue to move forward as a community, these rooms need to have everybody represented. The small businesses are here. You heard from Monica and what they've done so far. That's helped us go to testimony to make sure that SBS is hearing that we want grants and not loans. In a meeting with the commissioner just last week, she says she's looking into that, because it's not just me talking about this. It's you talking about it in hearings. It's other council members talking about it. And so they're going to be looking at a program to reinvigorate the federal dollars to create grant programs, but that's not enough. We can't just have those programs, so we're asking for support so there's caseworkers, so that you don't have any issues and barriers to redo those applications. That's just a little bit about what we're doing, and I gotta tell you, it's been 100 and what, is anybody counting? 162 days, 162 days. And I think that we've done such a great job of realigning this entire boat that was going in the wrong direction. So thank you for your hope and your spirit. Keep it alive, and we're going to be here with you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. You are lucky to have this guy in the council, I'll tell you that. Sir, you get the last quick word.
Am I the last one? Okay.
No pressure.
My name is Dan.
Hold on, everybody. We're almost.
Thanks. I do want to thank everyone here tonight. This is an incredibly effective format, and you guys are showing amazingly resilient patience in going through each of these hearings. I've been hearing these things since 2 days after the storm. I was a first responder. Worked pretty much. Sorry. Pretty much nonstop until I got off of work today, actually. I'm here to be kind of an advocate to shed some more light on the nonprofit sector and human service sector in New York City, and the city's support for both of those sectors. I think you've heard this before, especially tonight and in the past hearings, that the nonprofit and human services sector's response after Sandy was amazingly strong. It was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen in the entire time that I lived in New York. But it wasn't always sort of even keel with the city. I'm actually representing a nonprofit that I was asked to start and that I actually started in collaboration with the city. It was called the Child's Warehouse Hurricane Sandy Donations Management Program. This program it replaced a program that FEMA ran, which was a multi-agency donations warehouse. There were over 30 organizations, 5 different long-term recovery groups between Staten Island, Brooklyn, and Queens, which were part of this organization. It was supposed to be funded until October of 2014. The funding never materialized for that program, which was promised by the city. And in return, the entire program closed prematurely. It was not able to go out and find additional funding on its own. By the time we realized that funding was not going to come through, it was just too late to find alternatives. Each long-term recovery group that was relying on that network infrastructure, including the replacement of the program that FEMA was running prior to this, and every nonprofit that was involved in that effort didn't have a way to make up for that.
Let me wrap it up a little bit, only because I know how difficult that is, but perhaps we can work on some of those funding issues with you if you would talk with us. Would you be willing to do that?
I definitely would. I think what I'd like to do more is
but what would you like me to do about that? Yeah. Well, we're trying to get to the answer. Let him finish. I know you're frustrated. I know, but let's give him some help.
What I'd like to see more is to have part of this audit and this hearing look into the nonprofits' support by the city.
It's a good suggestion.
Other things like this are not happening.
It's actually something that we haven't, I think, focused on, but maybe we should. Everybody, there's a missing iPhone. If someone found an iPhone, if they can bring it to the back. Can we just give the deputy controllers a round of applause? They work a whole day. They've been at every one of these hearings, and they're working very hard. I want to thank all the community sponsors, and I want to thank our council member, but I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out, telling your story. I know you've gone to so many meetings, but I promise you, we're going to do everything we can to try to make a difference and make life a little better. We've got a long road to go, but you made it a little easier tonight. Thank you very much. Get home safe.